Hey there YouTube, Travis here. Well, you'd never believe it, but I am a Tomos A35 owner once again. And this bike has a most unlikely story. So some of you, if you really squint, may recognize this Tomos step-through from a couple other Travis tutorial videos. Now, I've known this bike for almost 10 years. In 2012, I helped a buddy of mine, Bobby, one of my best friends in the world, buy this moped back when we were living in Pennsylvania. At the time, this was a relatively unremarkable bone stock silver A35 Tomos step-through, and he absolutely enjoyed the heck out of it for the past 9 years. And this bike really has been everywhere. We've taken it out to Kalamazoo, Michigan for some Chad Burke events like the Build and Gather. It's been to New Jersey for Moped Larry's rides way back in the day. It's been to other events around Pennsylvania like Gettysburg and Philadelphia, of course. And this lived chained up on the streets of Philly for 3 years, out in the elements. It was vandalized, knocked over, but it survived it all. And when Bobby moved out to Oregon, he pulled up on it in front of my old house, which was amazing. 9 years. And the incredible thing is, while this is a moped, it's, had a dirty carb here and there. The bottom end and top end of this case actually are uncracked. This thing has never been apart. Like I said, we cleaned the carb a couple times. Back in 2012, put a bi-turbo pipe on it. And other than that, it's just chugged along. And this is really why I recommend one of these. This is a 1997, late 90s, early 2000s Tomos mopeds as a great starter bike for people who aren't necessarily mechanically inclined. Because this is an awesome way to get started. This thing has been so very reliable. But it is here today because it is finally not reliable. After all those years of enjoyment, unfortunately, it no longer starts. And when you turn the pedals over, it is extremely easy to turn over. And I just put my compression tester on it, and this thing got a big fail from that. So the moped failing, combined with the fact that Bobby is most likely gearing up for another large move and won't have the room, resulted in him passing the torch on to me. And now I have this bike. So let's do a quick walkthrough on some of the creative modifications on this bike, and then we'll get into kind of my plans with it, and we'll see where we go from there. But I guess to take it from the top, over the years, this moped would shed weight. It would shed weight in the terms of losing turn signals, losing parts of the fenders, losing the plastic panels, of course, losing the dashboard. But if we start with just the body here, we have a chopped front fender. The plastic assembly for the dash and the rectangle headlight are long gone. Looks like we got a couple extensions here. We'll rework this so that this treats headlight sits a little more flush with the forks. The bike has been rewired. Unfortunately, according to Bobby, the lights do not work. We're having some issues there for a little bit, so we had 9 flashlights taped to the front for a while, but rewiring happened last summer, and unfortunately, no lights. And we have this modern red wiring here. What else? This is a voltage regulator. Again, the lights are not working. I really need to kind of go through this and see the methodology for how the wiring was done, and then I'll do a simple hard wire for headlight, tail light, and brake lights, and we'll go from there. I don't know for sure. This voltage regulator may ground through the middle where this plastic zip tie is to this painted mount for the plastic side covers. So that could be an issue right there, but we'll have to do a little further investigation. Factory oil injection is in place, and as far as I know, has not failed. This bike originally, back in 2012, when we got our hands on it, had thousands of miles on the odometer. I remember being a little surprised. It was something like 4,000 or 6,000. So it was already a high-ish mileage bike when Bobby picked it up. But again, you know, up until extremely recently, this thing was a very, very happy soldier chugging along. This is a French seat, Motorbicane Peugeot. I don't remember off the top of my head. The mounting job is not ideal. That's kind of loose there. Again, there's your factory oil injection. There's a plastic dish that it sits in that couldn't be used with this seat. But this is a really nice Dubs seat. And then, of course, you chop the back of the rack right there. It might be interesting to get one of my buddies with a welder to see if we can make something a little more stable here, and then get a new cover for this, because this is a nice seat otherwise. We've got modern shocks. They sell these on treats. That's kind of nice. The buddy pegs that I like that fold out on the bottom. The chain is newer, which is nice. The tires are modern. Again, it's kind of crazy to think when you think of how long you've been in mopeds. These tires are from, you know, like 2013, so they might be due soon. I mean, if you look, the back is just worn from all the miles, which is really nice to see. Bike being enjoyed and ridden, but might have to change those out. We'll see. I'm guessing a running light and a brake light is back here. This is also chopped. The license plate mount is gone. As mentioned, bi-turbo exhaust, which it looks like could have a pinhole right there. There looks like there's some spooge leakage right there. We'll see. Bone stock Delorto 1412 carb. From what Bobby says, does not leak. We're just running the air filter piece here. The air box is often in a box full of parts. These are some M bars, which have been flipped up. I'm kind of at a point in my mopeding experience where I've really come to appreciate stock handlebars and not being hunched over on a bike that I'm going to ride frequently. So we may return to stock bars. We'll see. And I think that's about it. You know, really what we're looking at here, you know, again, it's got the flame paint job, which this was obviously not a gas-resistant paint. Oh, well. This is some really good bones. We've got straight wheels, modern tires, a clean gas tank, complete engine of a recent runner. I truly don't think it's going to take that much to get this bike back up and running. So let's try and make a runner out of this. We'll see if we can get that caught on some future videos. So we'll try and get it running. But what I'd really like to do is tear into this bottom end a bit, because I remember, again, like 5+ years ago, this transmission is a real screamer. I would not be surprised if those clutches in there are metal on metal. And it was still pulling hard, still shifting and running right. But I am morbidly curious to see what that's like after all those miles. What shape all that stuff inside is in. And of course, this bike came with a nice treasure trove of parts after, you know, owning any bike for a certain amount of time. We've got the factory bars here, the factory airbox, which is probably not going back on, a mirror, a couple of the turn signals, which are actually in okay shape. This thing had working turn signals up till about 3 years ago, which is kind of neat. So we've got those. Got some nice NGKs. These B6, actually BR6 HSs are nice. You know, just $3 a piece normally. Mirrors. I think this is an aftermarket rectangular headlight we were running for a while. New Trailtech dial of brightness voltage regulator. Perhaps this will replace that one. Brake cable. Tomos brake cables always have the end that gets clamped, and then the end with the NARP on it. Factory shocks. A little thing for the transmission fluid. And just miscellaneous nuts and bolts. What's kind of neat though is this guy. And then the original owner was like, yes, you have the Targa, not the base model Sprint or the LX. But this thing, wow. I'm very curious about this. Let's see here. All right. Whoops-a-daisy. All right, after a restart, we got it going. Okay, this may not be all that exciting. Okay, so this is the same workshop manual that's available online. Same thing we have in paper. And then a spare parts catalog that you can't actually use anymore. Well, it's a cool trinket nevertheless. Okay there, YouTube. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first look at this bike. Hoping that this will be a really fun project. We can make some good videos on tearing into it, seeing what's up, and turning this into a nice rider, treating this as a nice blank moped canvas. Okay there, YouTube. Until next time.